Did you suggest, as Mr. Ruveni wrote, that DOJ would need to consider telling the courts, fuck you, and ignore any such court order?
I did.
It also says in the complaint, Bove indicated and stressed to all in attendance that the planes needed to take off no matter what. These are the planes that a judge was ordering not be used to render people to a maximum security prison outside the country. Did you say during that meeting, did you stress to all in attendance that the planes needed to take off no matter what?
Senator, your characterization is not accurate.
It's not my characterization. It's the characterization of a decorated prosecutor who was in that meeting. Are you saying that he's lying? Mr. Bove, I want to turn to the meeting that Mr. Ruveni, the whistleblower, has written an extensive complaint about. The hearing started with the chairman reading a social media post by the Deputy Attorney General Blanche, who was present today but not under oath, nor is that social media post under oath. So let me ask you, since you are under oath, in the complaint it says, Bove stated that DOJ would need to consider telling the courts, fuck you, and ignoring any such court order. Did you say anything of that kind in the meeting?
Senator, I have no recollection of saying anything of that kind. To the extent I
Wouldn't you recall, Mr. Bove, if you said or suggested during a meeting with Justice Department lawyers that maybe they should consider telling the court, fuck you? It seems to me that would be something you'd remember, unless that's the kind of thing you say frequently.
Well, I've certainly said things encouraging litigators at the department to fight hard for valid positions that we have to take in defense of our clients.
And have you frequently suggested that they say fuck you and ignore court orders? Is that also something you frequently do, such you might not remember doing it on this occasion?
No, and as I explained, I have never directed.
So did you or did you not make those comments during that meeting?
Which comments, Senator?
You really need me to repeat it? Did you suggest, as Mr. Ruveni wrote, that DOJ would need to consider telling the courts, fuck you, and ignore any such court order?
I did not suggest that there would be any need to consider ignoring court orders. At the point of that meeting, there were no court orders to discuss.
Well, did you suggest telling the courts, fuck you, in any manner?
I don't recall.
You just don't remember that. Well, let me ask you this. It also says in the complaint, Bove indicated and stressed to all in attendance that the planes needed to take off no matter what. These are the planes that a judge was ordering not be used to render people to a maximum security prison outside the country. Did you say during that meeting, did you stress to all in attendance that the planes needed to take off no matter what?
Senator, your characterization is not accurate.
It's not my characterization. It's the characterization of a decorated prosecutor who was in that meeting. Are you saying that he's lying?
As I said at the beginning of the hearing.
No, I'm not interested in what you said at the beginning of the hearing. I'm interested in whether you stressed to people in attendance that the planes needed to take off no matter what. Did you say that?
I certainly conveyed the importance of the upcoming operation.
Well, don't paraphrase here. Did you tell people in attendance the planes needed to take off no matter what?
I don't recall the specific words that I used.
Wouldn't you recall saying that if you had instructed that the planes needed to take off no matter what, including whether the court ordered otherwise? You wouldn't remember that?
This is a mischaracterization, Senator. There were no court orders at this point.
Well, there was a court order, wasn't there?
No,
wasn't there a court order by Judge Boasberg, if not in this specific case, then in related cases, that people not be sent out of the country until the court could rule? Wasn't there a court order?
Not at the time of that meeting, Senator.
Did you participate in the decision not to disseminate that oral court order prior to the written court order to other agencies so those planes would not take off, so those planes would turn around? Were you involved in the decision to withhold that court order from the responsible agencies?
I think it's clear that I participated.
Yes or no?
I participated in this matter, and I'm not going to get into the contents of legal advice. I did, over the course of time, as many lawyers have.
No, I'm not interested in over the course of time. I'm interested in whether you participated in the willful violation of court orders as alleged in this complaint. Let me ask you this, Mr. Bove, if there are notes of that meeting, will you provide them to this committee?
I defer to the committee and to the executive branch on the procedure.
And if the committee requests them, will you provide those notes to the committee?
I defer to the executive branch on the handling of that request.
And let me ask you about notes from another meeting, which you're contesting here, and that is the meeting over the decision to dismiss the case in New York, the corruption case against the mayor of New York. According to Ms. Sassoon, the U.S. attorney at the time, during the meeting with Adam's attorneys, where she described Adam's attorneys repeatedly urging what amounted to a quid pro quo, that you admonished one of the lawyers in the room to stop taking notes. Is that true?
I don't believe I instructed that attorney to stop taking notes. I did remark on the fact that he was taking extensive notes, yes.
And why did it concern you that he was taking notes of that meeting?
Because at that point in the meeting, we were discussing who was responsible for media leaks, and I was making the point that only the prosecutors had created an extensive record that could support detailed leaks.
And you were concerned, were you, that information about this potential quid pro quo might become public? Was that the concern?
I've explained that there was no quid pro quo.
Will you provide the notes of that meeting, which you, according to the U.S. attorney, instructed be collected at the end of the meeting?
I think a member of my staff may have given that instruction outside my presence, and I defer to the committee and the executive branch on records requests and how those should be handled.
Well, I would request that we seek these records, which go to the truthfulness or lack of truthfulness of this witness. There's a reason why, if I may, my colleagues have gone over at least as much as this. There must be a reason why prosecutors quit rather than following orders from you they considered unethical. There must be a reason why prosecutors complained about you in your own office, why defense attorneys complained about you in your own office, why the judge in the case involving the dismissal of the charges in New York said everything here smacks of a bargain. You testified earlier that the objective evidence overwhelmingly made it clear that it was not a bargain. That there must be a reason why everyone disagrees with you, Mr. Bove, and people feel it necessary to give up a job they love at the Department of Justice and quit because they won't go along with what they consider unethical and immoral orders from you. There must be a reason why that is so true of so many, and this court needs to get to the bottom of it. I yield back.
Thank you,
May I make
Senator
a
Cruz.
parliamentary inquiry?
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've requested the notes from two pivotal meetings that go to the heart of the nominee's credibility. The meeting over the decision to drop charges against the mayor of New York, and the meeting in which the whistleblower alleges that the nominee suggested ignoring court orders and telling the courts essentially, fuck you. The witness has said that the decision whether to turn over those notes will determine or depend, I guess, on whether there's an assertion of privilege of some kind. And we have the great good fortune at this moment to have the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General here with us today. We can resolve this right now. I would ask through the chair whether the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General will approve the provision of these notes to the committee. They could be provided to the chair and the ranking member in camera if necessary, so that the question that Senator Kennedy asked about whether there was some illicit bargain and that my colleagues have asked can be resolved. If there are detailed notes of these meetings, it will give us an answer to who's telling the truth here. So I would ask the question through the chair of the witness. Given we have the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General here, will the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General make these notes available to the committee so we can determine who's telling the truth here?
For the record, and certainly any requests for information can be submitted to this committee, and they will ask for those. Thank you so much. We're also going
Madam
to turn it
Chair.
over to Ranking Member Durbin, who had some letters, I believe, he wanted to introduce for the record.
Well, I'd like to join Senator Schiff in his request. I think that if these notes exist, they would answer the questions which the witness was unable to answer. And I think there would be a lot of clarity in that situation.
Well, that will be noted, Ranking Member, and we will add you to that request.
So I just watched this clip from the Senate hearing, and honestly, this is exactly the kind of political theater Americans are tired of seeing. You've got Senator Adam Schiff going after DOJ official Emil Bove with some pretty explosive accusations, and the whole exchange feels less like a search for truth and more like another round of Washington drama. Before we get into this, welcome back to Voice of Truth. If you believe in common sense, accountability, and calling out political games when you see them, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and drop a comment below telling me what you think about this hearing. Your support helps this channel grow and helps more people hear perspectives that the mainstream media often ignores. All right, let's talk about what just happened. In the clip, Senator Schiff starts pressing Emil Bove about a whistleblower complaint. According to that complaint, Bove allegedly suggested that the Department of Justice might need to tell the courts, quote, F you, and ignore court orders. That's a pretty serious accusation, and Schiff clearly wanted to make it the centerpiece of the questioning. But here's the thing. Bove flat out said he does not recall saying anything like that, and he also clearly stated that he never directed anyone to ignore court orders. And yet Schiff kept repeating the line over and over again. Now, think about that for a second. If you're actually trying to get the truth, you ask the question, you get the answer, and then you move forward with evidence. But if you're trying to create a viral political moment, you repeat the accusation again and again, so it sticks in people's minds. And that's exactly what it felt like here. Schiff even went as far as saying that if Bove had said something like that, he would remember it unless he says that kind of thing frequently. That's not really a question. That's an attempt to frame the narrative. Then the hearing moved to another accusation. The whistleblower claimed Bove stressed that planes involved in a deportation operation needed to take off no matter what. Now, once again, Schiff presented this like it was proof of something sinister. But Bove pushed back and said that characterization was inaccurate. He explained that he emphasized the importance of the operation, but didn't recall using those exact words. And honestly, that sounds pretty normal in high-stakes government operations. If you're running an operation that involves logistics, security, and coordination across agencies, of course someone might say the mission is important and needs to move forward. That's not some shocking revelation. Then Schiff tried to pivot to another issue entirely, a decision to drop corruption charges involving the mayor of New York. He brought up claims that during a meeting with attorneys, Bove supposedly commented on a lawyer taking extensive notes, and Schiff tried to turn that into evidence of a potential quid pro quo. But again, Bove denied that there was any such deal and explained that the discussion about note-taking was connected to concerns about media leaks. And let's be honest here. Washington leaks like a sieve. Anyone who has followed politics for more than 5 minutes knows that information from internal meetings constantly finds its way into the press. So pointing out someone taking extensive notes in a sensitive meeting doesn't automatically mean there's something shady happening. It might simply mean someone is worried about confidential discussions ending up in the headlines the next morning. But the moment that really stood out was when Schiff demanded that the committee obtain notes from these meetings. He argued that if the notes exist, they could reveal who is telling the truth. Now on the surface, that sounds reasonable. But Bove responded the way most government officials do in situations like this. He said any release of internal notes would have to go through proper executive branch procedures. And that's not unusual. There are legal rules and privileges around internal deliberations, especially inside the Department of Justice. You can't just hand over internal legal discussions on the spot during a hearing because a senator demands it. By the end of the exchange, Senator Dick Durbin backed up Schiff's request, saying the notes could help clarify the situation. And the committee chair said the request would be submitted through the normal process. So where does that leave us? From my perspective, what we just watched wasn't some dramatic smoking gun moment. It looked like another example of how Washington hearings often turn into political performances designed for clips, headlines, and social media. That doesn't mean the allegations shouldn't be investigated. If there's a whistleblower complaint, it should absolutely be examined carefully. But accusations alone aren't proof. And repeating a sensational quote in a hearing doesn't magically turn it into fact. What matters is evidence, documents, testimony, verified records, not just political sound bites. And that's the part that sometimes gets lost in these hearings. Instead of focusing on facts and due process, the conversation turns into a back and forth that feels more like cable news than serious oversight. At the end of the day, Americans want transparency and accountability from their government, but they also want fairness. And fairness means you don't convict someone in the court of public opinion based on allegations alone. You investigate the claims, you review the evidence, and then you make a judgment. That's how the system is supposed to work. But what we saw today looked a lot more like political messaging than a search for the truth. And honestly, that's something people on both sides of the political aisle should be able to recognize. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think this hearing revealed something serious, or did it feel like political theater to you? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more breakdowns like this where we cut through the noise and talk about what's really happening in Washington, make sure you subscribe to Voice of Truth, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to see it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.